Yo, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hey Rockstar. It is a beautiful Thursday today here in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm messing with these sound things because it's a little too. There we go. There we go. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. I hope you guys had a great half week, whatever. Since this week I didn't get to do anything until Tuesday, but or I didn't get to do the mini-sode until Tuesday. But either way, though, today I'm excited. We have a good show for you today, but I was a little nervous because for the first time ever in Hey Rockstar history, my guest was not on when I turned the live button on. But I see my peripheral that he's on now, so we'll go ahead and continue on. I was going to have to stall for time, but that's okay. I am dealing with an artist today. And you know the artist is only worth by how late they show up to the party. They have to make their entrance. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to have you here today. This is episode 41. It is an interview with the Rockstar. What can I say about this Rockstar? When I first met him, he was hustling t-shirts at a youth conference. T-shirts with a powerful message when he was talking about his company, Soul Pirate at the time. And I was so moved. My band and I were like, hey, we're doing this big concert. Why don't you and your partner, your business partner, come all the way to West Texas to come hustle your shirts at our concert event? And they did. They did the drive. They showed up. And just the fact that he was willing to make that trip, it forged a bond between us that to this day, many, many years later, he's the one who said it best, that whenever I go to San Antonio or whenever he comes here to Nashville, we just kind of pick up where we left off, because this man travels a lot more than I travel. I used to travel a lot, y'all, but he not t-shirts weren't just his thing. I mean, he has legitimate pieces that he has worked on. He has done I don't know what the word is. I should have done my research more, but any kind of media he knows how to work with. But he also started a project or an idea that became a sensation in San Antonio, became an icon for what is San Antonio, Texas, and it's known as Mr. Piñata. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that, how that came into fruition. But it's a live piece. That's what it is. It was a live piece that became a staple, and what more can I say? Let's go and bring in my guest who's here. He's I hope his audio's working. We get to check that. That's all right. By the way, my name is Josafat Emiliano. Miguel's back there just chilling because we have a special guest today. This is episode 41, an interview with a rock star. This rock star is all the way from San Antonio, Texas. He is known as Avi Avalos, Mr. Piñata, Mr. San Antonio. I don't know. Everyone get your hands together once again for the artist known as Avi Avalos.
Hello, testing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, my brother.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for that great introduction.
Well, I would have worked on it a little bit more. I was like, oh man, this boy, first he's an artist, but he's also a church boy, so he's going to be double late to the party.
Double late.
I should know better than this, but that's okay, man. The show will go on, and I know that whatever you have for us today, or whatever we're going to have today, it's going to be a good time. Avi, welcome to Hey Rockstar, my man. How are you today?
I'm good.
How's San Antonio treating you?
It's great. I went swimming today, ran some errands, just getting settled up and ready to get the day started.
That is good. That is some good stuff, my brother. So let's go and get this party started. If you wouldn't mind, just tell us a little bit about your story, your journey, and how you are where you are today. Or how did you get there?
Well, the story is, when I met you, Hosa, I was going to art school at the time, and I was going to art school, was kind of late to the party as usual, so I didn't get to register for all the cool art classes, and I ended up having to sign up for whatever was left. One of them ended up being printmaking, and then that's how I learned how to make the t-shirts and started getting into printmaking. So being late to the party has always worked for me so far. But so yeah, so went to art school, and during art school, just kind of progressed working on my work, and then started trying to find my creative voice through the printmaking. I mean, it's a lot of iconography, like Andy Warhol kind of inspirations, and it's a lot of you're dealing with images that people are familiar with. So then that's when I started beginning to develop my visual language and take things and images and putting images juxtaposed to each other to create a statement. So during art school is when I actually had gotten laid off from a job. So then I had to just kind of had to make it work. And so then I was, just thrown into, kind of put up or shut up kind of a situation. And, so I just started working with what was around me and what was appealing to the audience around me. And so then that's when I kind of started learning how to capture people's attention through what they already know. So a lot of my early work, my artwork was like a Chicano pop art dealing with the Latino culture that's here in San Antonio. And a lot of it was food based because that's, very heavy in the culture. And so then I started making kind of like Andy Warhol soup cans, but started changing them into taco flavors and, kind of Latino references that were also kind of jokes at the time as well. I started doing images with the Last Supper on top of the Fideo box drawing, which is kind of like, I guess it's like macaroni for
oh yeah,
normal, like the rest of America, it's like macaroni, the cheapest thing you can get. But for Latinos, it was the Fideo, which is 22 cents a box or 15 cents a box. And I was basically feeding myself
looking thing
for about, $25 a week, for the whole week, and going to the food bank, and, all I really had was Jesus and Fideo. And at some point those images clashed. And so I made this little yellow box that had the Last Supper, but the Last Supper fit perfectly into the logo. And since everybody in San Antonio or a lot of Latino culture, they kind of gravitate to this very inexpensive macaroni, basically. Everybody is familiar with it, and everybody's grandmother and mother had the Last Supper. So
yeah,
I kind of made that, and I was an instant rock star pretty much after that. My first show kind of got it out there, and then within a month, I started getting phone calls for that specific artwork. These prints that I made on canvas, and they were going to collectors in Los Angeles and Chicago
that's cool,
and New York. So, and they were getting into prominent, Chicano art collections. So that's kind of how it started. And then I started moving to kind of political series. So I was working on where I did a 3-part political series of basically how the government spends all of our money. And and how they're celebrated for that. And so then part of the 3-part series was a fashion show where I went to Kinko's, and I took $100 bill or whatever cash I had in my pocket at the time, and I started printing it in the printer, and then I started blowing it up into as big as I could do, and then I started folding them into these paper dresses, and ended up having a show in one of the poorest communities in the country, in the west side of San Antonio. And the whole concept was the government has so much money that they just wear money. and the models ended up being, I like to call them like thieves from the government, but they're, I guess I guess they just take the money anyway. Whether you want to call them thieves or not, whatever, they're the money takers.
How about
Well,
just
let's just call them money
let's
takers.
just call them the leeches.
The money takers from the government.
Okay.
One, they were beautiful.
Gotcha.
Two, they were looking all decked out, like just wearing money, like so much money that you could just wear it. And so I made all these dresses, and then the idea was that they celebrate these people, but these are the people that are taking all the taxes, right? And they're also celebrated for that just because they have so much. But little did the audience realize it's their own money that they're using. So it was kind of this. It was more of a like conceptual art. Part of it was a physical work of making these dresses and turning into fashion and having a great fashion show. And I mean, it was really cool. All the dresses were awesome. Unbeknownst to my audience, they didn't know that they were also part of this conceptual idea of how they were going to be celebrating these people. Like I kind of already knew what was happening, because that's what happens in our society. We celebrate the rich. Like look at the Kardashians and the celebrities. Like we celebrate the rich, the politicians.
Yeah.
But it's all that money comes from normal people, and so the audience didn't really know that they were part of my conceptual art form. But I mean, that's kind of what that project was about. And then at the end, they had some of my models had printed out some fake money. They kind of look like hunters, but they had my face on it. And at the end, when we did like the finale, the final, after everyone had gone, we started throwing all this like fake money into the audience. And I mean, people were screaming and people were hollering, and I mean, the whole actual like conceptual work that I was actually really creating was, it kind of played out just as I thought. And the series was also continued by a photograph series where I had, at the time, it was Obama and Romney when Obama was first running. And, I had some titles of the work where like Obama and Romney were like drinking champagne and toasting each other. Like politicking ain't easy, but it sure is fun. Like it doesn't really matter who wins. We're all in the same, like we all win. Why? Because we're spending everybody else's money. Like, I mean, if that's politics, like sign me up. Vote for me.
Vote for Mr. Piñata.
I mean, and so that was a series that was, I think a lot of the frustrations and like, protests and all these things that people were talking about now were some of the issues that I was dealing with 8 years ago, 9 years ago, a decade ago, almost. And so I was already kind of talking about these things and just realizing that, like Democrat Party, Republican Party, it's all, puro pinche party.
My parents are probably hearing this right now. That's okay.
I mean, it doesn't matter. They're just like, whatever. They don't care. Like, if they don't win, guess what? Like, their cousin or their brother or whoever, they're there and, they're connected to the money. So, whatever. But it was so funny because a friend of mine made that T-shirt. And I think it was a Fiesta T-shirt. And that was a real funny. I had to use that.
That is cool.
So that was kind of, this has been like kind of the life of my work at the time, where I was doing the political series. I also had another, like a painting and print series that went along besides the photograph series. There was a whole bunch of photographs of the Obama and Romney, fighting, doing like a tug of war over the flag, and just throwing money. Like it was a really fun series, just basically talking about the wasteful spending. And And really, I think the whole thing ultimately is the wasteful spending of government, is what I was talking about. But then there was another part where there was a painting series where, one thing that one work that I did was a Social Security card with the Last Supper. And I think that was more like the main like work of the whole that summarized the whole series for me,
Mm,
because it is like, imagine your Social Security card, and then the Last Supper just fits right in the middle,
yeah.
and thinking about, what faith means, what faith in Christ means. Do you trust the government? Does the government love you? Or do you put all your security in the government? Or do you put your security and faith in God? And so it was kind of more of an open-ended question to, create discussion. But for me, it was kind of a statement of faith of like my security, my social security in this world is the faith in God, because that's the only one who's true,
Yeah.
and that's the only one who won't misguide us. We can misguide each other at times, or fall short, and for me, like, God's the only one who we can be secure in. And so, that's kind of, so it started with the Chicano pop art, and then it went to that
Political.
the political art. And after the political art, I mean, I was pretty much done with
Mm.
making political art, just
Oh,
just
gotcha.
because of, it was frustrating, like all the people protesting and stuff. And like I said, I was kind of feeling all that already 10 years ago, so I guess I was already making comments on that. But it was, there's not almost nothing you can do about it. Um, the system's set up the way it's set up, and it's set up like that for a reason.
Yeah.
So I decided that I'm not, all I can do is make my comments. Uh, I could vote, do my thing, and move forward. After that series, um, I really put a lot of time and money and effort, and I was really kind of not satisfied with not creating artwork anymore, to be honest. I was ready to kind of give up. And then I guess I started listening to like an NPR podcast
Okay.
talking about what is the purpose of art in society. You know, like, why do we need a painting? It's a cool picture,
Yeah.
that's cool, but like, actually, like, what impact does it really have on society? Probably not. Like, I think your YouTube channel has more of an impact on, big fancy paintings and things, that are at the museum, or whatever. Um, so it was, I really started contemplating of like, what is the purpose of art? Why am I even making art? And what impact is that going to have on society and culture as a whole? So I kind of started thinking about that, and I started thinking of, well, art um, needs to be accessible for one.
Okay.
Not everybody's going to the gallery, not everyone's going to the museum, so it has to be accessible. And number two, it has to connect to the people. Like, you know, everybody knows, like, kind of like the classic situation of going to an art show and like all the paintings are just white with like a dot in it, and
Yeah.
nobody understands what it means. And it really doesn't mean anything. It's really some snobby art kids, like, who can't paint, or maybe some of them can. I can't say that, but whatever, whatever. Uh, People who just decide that it's all in an intellectual thing. Like, they have to do, you know, an essay for 5 pages as to why they're so brilliant at putting one dot on a white canvas and saying, if you don't understand this, then you must be real low class and not educated.
What about
Um,
that one where they duct tape a banana to the canvas? Was that a
I,
real piece? I heard it
no, it
was.
is a real piece, and it is a real artist. And I mean, I don't really know the story, but yeah, exactly stuff like that. Like it doesn't really relate to like real people, which are the majority, 90%, right? We talk, the protests were about the 10% or the 1%ers, like
Yeah.
the people who are enjoying that and fighting over that. And I think that duct tape piece sold for like
It was up
200,
there.
like $200,000 or like, I don't know. It went for a lot. Um, but it's the 1%ers who that stuff caters to. So like,
Yeah.
what about the 99%? And so I think I found myself also kind of getting snubbed, or maybe I didn't like associate with the right crowd at the time. So I was getting snubbed from galleries. So I said, well, forget that. Like, how do I, that art, what real impact is it really having?
Mm.
Not much. So how do we make art and make it meaningful? And how do we really connect to society and inspire our communities? I think public art does that, like murals and things like that. I think that that's probably the common thing that we have. And then so anyway, so kind of thinking about those issues, I decided to figure out, well, where are the people in San Antonio? And in San Antonio, the only place that you could find the most people is going to be at Fiesta, which is like the yearly annual, kind of like Mardi Gras,
Oh,
but it's not Mardi
I
Gras.
should have worn my Mr.
It's
Piñata pin.
yeah, your
Or
pin. And so like so basically it's like 2-3 weeks of like all these parties. And but anyway, I was like, well, that's the place that I can access the most people. And this is kind of when flash mob were still a thing. Remember flash mobs back in the day?
I'm trying to remember. Is that when like people just like bust out a random dance?
Yeah, people
Gotcha.
are random singing or whatever. And I think that was part of that NPR program that evening, where like a whole symphony randomly showed up to like this rotunda somewhere at a mall, and they were at all the different levels of the mall. And like one person started playing the violin at the bottom, and then like somebody else showed up, and they did this flash mob. And
Huh.
it really blessed all the people who were at the mall that day. um so it was kind of like, a little bit with that concept of just like taking it and not giving an opportunity to be denied.
Yeah.
um so that concept, thinking about San Antonio, the Latin culture, um what I wanted to do is actually take like a piñata and like float it over the crowds, kind of like a Macy's Day uh, balloon float thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But helium was like $1,000 and hard to find, and I did not have that budget to just be cool. So I'd rather be cool sitting on a beach for $1,000. So then I just decided to like I tried to make this piñata, it didn't work. So then I got this idea of like writing this children's book about
Mm.
this burro piñata who comes
That's
to
a donkey, by
life.
the way.
Yeah, yeah, donkey piñata, the
A
classic.
burro is a donkey.
Yeah, kind of like almost a Pinocchio story, but like piñata version. And the piñata comes to life, and he makes friends with the helium balloons at all the parties, and eventually, like, he says arriba, 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 and all the balloons like they attach to him, and then he dumps out all the candy, and he like escapes the parties and like goes on adventures. So then I started writing this book about this like magical piñata that goes on adventures, and then he starts making friends with humanity, and starts discovering himself, because he was like a real pretty piñata, and he didn't know that piñatas were meant to be broken. And
Yeah.
he was just like so pretty that everybody just loved him, because he was just like more of an ornament. And then until somebody hits him at one of these parties, he escapes. Long story short, he starts to kind of make friends with humanity. But slowly as he does, um, I didn't really know how to write that part of the story of like, how are people going to treat this life piñata? Um, so I kind of didn't know what to do, but I came to the conclusion is the only way to kind of finish writing the story of how people are going to treat a piñata is to be a piñata.
Oh.
And so then that's how I kind of developed the concept of becoming, I knew I had the epiphany of like, I need to be a piñata. And immediately I knew that I was going to be a mariachi because I've been wanting a mariachi suit for like years. And like, I mean, if you, for those that know what the mariachi suit looks like, I mean, those are like super cool pants, like just the pants and then, all the things on
The
the
little
side and
streams and
all the cool
the
things on the
decorations or
shoulders and the deck. Like,
the designs.
it was
Yeah.
just so cool. And I was like, I wanted one, but I didn't play an instrument. I didn't really sing, although I can sing. I didn't sing. Um, but when I had the epiphany that like, in order to do what I needed to do, I had to be a piñata. I instantly knew that it was going to be a mariachi suit, and I thought, well, it's going to be fun, and I get to kind of kill two birds with one stone, and it's going to be a good time. Um, so then that's how like the piñata suit came along. So I have this suit that looks like a mariachi suit, but it's all piñata.
Mm.
And once I made it, I put it on, and my friends like my friends were all freaking out, and of course I thought it was a good idea, uh, but I didn't know that it was going to turn into what it's become at this point. And so it ended up happening that in order to go do my visual research, I had to definitely go in public, and I asked a buddy of mine like, should I take this to Fiesta? The coincidence was this was about a year later after I tried my failed attempt to float a piñata over the crowds. This was like the following year that through trial and error and through, just having fun creatively
Yeah.
and just going with whatever, even if it doesn't work and even if what you're trying to do doesn't work, you just kind of continue and, let your creative side like have fun. I found myself a year later now equipped with this piñata mariachi suit, and I'd never really been to Fiesta. All I knew there was a lot of intoxicated people, so I was a bit scared. But as soon as I went and I saw people, um, I remember this girl. She had like 3 beers, like holding them all, and she was kind of walking this way, and she looked at me, and like I saw her eyes like get real big, and it kind of looked like a kid on Christmas, when they get like the pony that they wanted or whatever it is. Yeah, no, like total jaw dropper. And of course, like, as a man, I saw a beautiful girl, like
With three
just
beers.
with 3 beers. Okay. But like, just like all happy, right? And she was like, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. And, so she runs off, and that was kind of like my first like encounter that I remember of like making eye contact with somebody. And then she kind of came back immediately with like a whole group of friends, and they were all like kind of the same thing, jaw dropper, like oh my god, like what's going. They just immediately want to take a picture of me, and then like after that, like I mean, I just had started having crowds and crowds of people. I mean, it was yeah, it was wild. It's been a wild ride for sure.
And so this concept of the piñata, um, it's been a wild ride because you told me in the past. We're not gonna get into those stories about like just people inviting you to like VIP events, to the Spurs game, to all these things where if they ever go to your Instagram, they'll see pictures of you just dressed up, decked up, and well, how many colors do you have? Do you have? I remember you had a yellow one and a pink one, or is it just a pink and
No, I have the original was black.
I remember that one.
Then I made like a yellow one. Then I made like a kind of greenish color. Then I made a turquoise one. I have a pink one. I have a piñata, Santa Claus one.
I remember that one.
I have an elf one.
All right, so let's get into a little bit of just the matter of the emotion behind this. So now you're starting to see what is one positive takeaway that you have noticed from your piñata person. You know, what have you seen in people, their reactions besides that girl? I mean, what have people told you about having that concept out?
I mean, a lot of people just it's more of a it's like a public art piece. It's a visual stimulant. For the most part, most people are just excited to see the visual work. And that's I guess my perspective on it. I mean, for me, it was just a work of art that I wanted to make, that I wanted to share with the whole city. I That was my mission, was to create a work of art that the whole city would enjoy. And so, um, yeah, it's just kind of been something that's really far out and nobody's ever seen it. So every time I go, it's very unique. And um, I get people are just excited about that. And at the same time, like when you have hundreds of people like smiling and like so happy to see you, like it naturally, like you can't help but smile when you get all that energy coming straight at you. So, and I happen to have the personality that can kind of deal with a wide range of people. Um, and so, just because of my personality type, I'm able to kind of give this really cool, like joyful persona and moment. It's really about the moment.
Mm.
It's moments in time that we get to share with people, whether like you and I, we've gotten to share a lot of cool moments and share, make memories, or whether it was that one moment with that first girl that I saw at Fiesta, like forever, that'll be like burnt in my memory. It was just a moment of time, a moment in time that we have to be a blessing to others.
Cool. All right. I just thought of a clever question to ask you. Having experienced this impactful, successful project, has it stopped you from trying something else, going somewhere else, experimenting with other things? Have you found yourself um, wanting to move forward from here, or does Mr. Pinata still something that's just say, hey, this is something I need to hold on to?
Well, yeah, no, for sure. Well, the piñata thing, because it kind of took off and just, I mean, it was a roller coaster that I didn't even know I was on. And all of a sudden, like, you're getting invited here and there, and running into the mayor all the time at parties, or whatever, from like riding my bike as a starving artist, like to downtown, and like hanging out and stopping and talking to the homeless people, to an hour and a half later, like saying what's up to like city council, but it's like the fifth time you've seen them in the last 5 days. So yeah, it was a wild ride. So it kind of just took over. And I just had to try to kind of ride the wave and see how far I could take it. So I was definitely experimenting and trying to see how far I could take the piñata as an art form, and just kind of see and experiment, try different things to see where this could go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely feel that it has held me back from other projects and other ideas and concepts and artist statements that I want to make. However, it has the loudest voice, and everybody loves it and everybody wants it, and it's kind of hard to deny the impact that it's had, because it's been like I've gone to a little like a elementary school, and I was trying to read. I went to Dr. Seuss week and was reading like a Dr. Seuss book to like all these like pre-K and kindergartners and all these little kids. And like I was starting to read, and they all just came up, like hundreds of little kids are just like coming up to me and like hugging my like legs, and just like that was a real special moment. Like, that. And then from the little kids to people our age to, um, I met somebody who was in their like 90s in front of the Alamo, and I didn't even remember, but someone from work, we were in kind of a round table, and they were just asking about, hey, what's like share some good news or something. And somebody was like, well, Avi was dressed up in front of the Alamo, and our 90-year-old grandmother was in front of the Alamo, and just thought that he was the best thing. And she took a picture, and she took the picture with me, and she framed it, and she gave everybody in her family a photo framed of her and I to everybody in her family. So,
I want to check out your Instagram
oh,
right
there
now.
you
You
go.
can keep talking.
Yeah.
So,
So I think some of those like moments are kind of hard to like pass up, as far as, the beauty of sharing moments with people. And just, I think the thing that I found is being able to do more for others than they can do for you, um, is kind of like a beautiful part of living. And it's been so much fun. I can't like, yeah, it's all been a good time. And then I've had the opportunity to take Mr. Piñata to,
I like
that's
this
me,
picture.
that's paddleboarding in Isla Mujeres in Mexico, in the Caribbean. I took Mr. Piñata to New York, and got to meet some celebrities right there.
It's a rose.
Got to, there's my friend Rose, and then the other person with the sunglasses, that's my friend Sandra Cisneros. She's a famous book writer.
Oh, cool.
So it's been it's been entertaining enough for me to keep on doing it, for sure. However, there are other projects I do want to work on.
Cool. Are you allowed to share on that right now, or you wait till it's revealed?
Uh, I mean, I think at this point, the next thing is trying to document my work.
Mm.
I mean, I've documented everything through photographs, but I think now it's time to kind of put pen to paper and really tell the stories. Um, so my goal is to do. I think the best thing is to do like a theater production.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be the best way for at least the people who've really supported me in the last 6, 7 years to really kind of have a real good time and have an intimate setting. Because I mean, I meet so many wonderful people, and I'd love to spend time with them all. However, it's hard to be out in public and give everybody any good attention, especially when there's people who know me or whatever, and everybody wants to talk. So I think that doing the play will, I'll be able to tell my story, because everybody asks me the same thing. How did you get the idea? How did it happen? What's, you know, you just got back from Mexico, or you just got back from New York. So I think the play, I can kind of take all of those things that people have been asking me, and I think through having to repeat these stories is I'm getting ideas of how to write um, this theater production. So that's kind of my next goal. And then, through the writing, the theater production will also kind of should be able to translate, and be re-edited into a book or story. So that's kind of the next phase.
I gotta put this one up
Oh yeah, that was real fun.
with Don
That's
Pablo.
Don Paulo. Yeah,
Is that Miss Piñata?
that was one of my Miss Piñatas. Yeah.
No. Hey, I do have a question about, once people hit certain levels of fame, and this is for music and artistry, how have you been able to find the balance between being real to you and being able to be in the limelight?
When it's time to take a break, you take the break.
Is that right?
Yeah, because when you're in it, I mean, you just have to go, and you know, sometimes it's crazy. Like, I do the fiesta thing, and but then it's like I'm getting invited, you know, to go here, go there. There's parties all the time. So it's kind of like you're promoting your work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, and I don't always go out as Mr. Piñata, although I will. And you're doing a business, right? So you got to hustle, got to make the money. So you're working with the people that you want to work with. I've been blessed to be able to do that. Um, but then I think at a point, like I kind of felt that getting hired, all these paid gigs,
Yeah.
was kind of maybe not the direction that I was really going.
Yeah.
I kind of rode the wave, and like I felt like the wave was still going, but my wave, as far as my energy and my interest in specifically what I was doing and like standing around and taking pictures of people, I was kind of not all like my wave was already like coming to shore, and I was feeling like I needed a break. Um, it kind of does mess with your head, and I never wanted to be like too proud or get arrogant. Like there's another person in town who dresses up not anything like me, but he's a character. He's created his own character, but a lot of people say that he's snobby and he's rude and like you know I never wanted that type of thing to happen with me. But also, it was all an experiment. I was just trying to do research so I could write this book. I think what I was really trying to do as an artist was like, let me write a book so I could make something and it could always give me like residual income and I don't have to do anything no
The
more.
book. Oh no, we just lost James. Oh, sorry, we just lost Avi. Oh, did he push the wrong button? And we're about to start getting back to the good parts about. Or I was about to ask him for his canon, or the question to ask all my guests. So Avi, if you are, oh, let's see, device is not connected. Okay, he's coming back. He's coming back. But that is hilarious. Okay, got you,
I
got
got
you. There you are.
so that was like really like, on the subconscious level. I mean, you gotta, if you can't take care of yourself, then you can't do nothing for nobody, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So initially, like, yeah, I wanted to make a work of art for everybody to enjoy, and that was it. And then like the idea about the story came about, and I was like, well, I'll just write some children's books, and maybe I can make a career off of a series, and I don't have to worry about money, and I could just work on art. But the Mr. Piñata thing took off, which it's great, and it has the potential to do that. And so, uh, but yeah, so it's been a wild ride for sure.
For sure. You went from a student to doing silkscreen press, which is the t-shirt stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then the political artwork. And actually have had a chance to see some of this of his creative work whenever I'd go visit and stay at his place. And then now, and then into this concept of the children's book, which became, or the story that became the experience of what it would be like. Or actually, I like what you said about, I want to be where the people are. I need to find where the people are at. And you found, you went to Fiesta and you saw, you try to do the piñata thing because it's still culturally relevant. Let's before we wrap this up, I know that you are Mr. SA, Mr. San Antonio. What is it about your city that has convinced you that there's no other place you would rather be right now?
It's the tacos, man.
How strong of an art How strong of an art culture or an art I forgot the word. I guess population is there in SA.
It's a big, strong community. Um, I mean, I don't know how to contextualize it, but I mean, there's a big community for sure.
I think it's bigger than we have here in Nashville, but here in Nashville, it's starting to grow because we definitely have
The cool thing
our
is,
night lights or our art crawls.
yeah, the cool thing is that it's pretty integrated. So I think like I've heard a lot of artists from like Dallas and Houston that it's
Mm.
like, it's well, those are really big cities and everything's so spread out. In San Antonio, we've seemed to be able to kind of like take over different neighborhoods, and but like the artists are also connected to the musicians who are also connected to the theater people who are also connected to, I mean, like,
Yeah,
the politics and like the who's to who, the sayers and things like that. So it's interesting how, you know, it's all intertwined, and a lot of artists, whether they be musicians or DJs or, painters or somebody like myself who does a little bit of a few things, everybody's kind of connected. So we have a pretty connected community. It's really nice to have a community that supports you, that and is excited about your work.
that is important, and that's good that you found your people there in San Antonio. Before I move on to the next question, though, I just gotta let the audience know that I am a proud owner of an Avi Avalos original piece right there. That is a one of a kind Rasta Jesus uh, that was silk screen onto paper. It was the first time we did the three colors and the Rasta colors, and he was gracious enough to attempt it for me. And I actually had forgot about this gym till I went to go visit my folks, and I'm like, hey, I was cleaning up some stuff, and I found the roll that you gave it to me, and I opened it up and like, oh my goodness, and I had this frame just for the longest time. I remember you almost took that frame with you, but then you're like, I can't get on the airplane, and you just left it behind.
Hmm.
And so I brought it to Nashville, and I fixed it up. I got myself a canvas and put the piece the Rasta Jesus on there, and that's an Avi Avalos original. And there's a very intimate message written on the back of it from him to myself. Just I love you, my man. You're a good friend, a brother. You're more than just a friend. You're a brother. But let's move on because the night is escaping us. And thank you for sharing your story so far. I mean, just thank you for sharing everything you brought. I know a lot of people can relate, especially those who are interested in being artists or just knowing the story and the struggle of why people get to where they're at. All right, so the one of the questions that I like to ask all my guests is, what disciplines or habits have become like just your canon every day? Basically, what you do every day.
I
What
like to have
habits?
fun every day.
All right. Well, how do you make that a habit or a routine?
Just depends. Depends on what the day is or where it's happening. But I mean, I like to get up. I like to read for a little bit. Um, I like to get in the swimming pool and kind of relax and like kind of clear my mind. And just kind of give myself some like creative thinking time, after reading and just kind of relaxing. And I like to review my work a lot.
Really?
Like I'm constantly looking at my work, and just I mean, a lot of my work's conceptual, so
Mm.
it's going to be different than like a singer or songwriter. Like, they probably write every day or whatever. And me, I kind of look at my work and see like how could I make that better, or what statement is this making? Is this a conversation I really want to be having or communicating? So I kind of do some of those things. I definitely, that's probably the thing that you're, to really answer your question, is I kind of review my work pretty often,
All right.
um,
I like that.
and consider, what I'm saying, and what my work is saying, because ultimately it's about the people, right? Because if I could do it for myself, and that's okay, but if there's no audience, I have no one to throw confetti at. It'd be a sad day.
The sad piñata.
Yeah.
All right. Before going on to the next question, let me get the comments. Just a few comments. Actually, it's not. First one, of course, from Jose Sanchez.
What
What's
up,
up,
Jose?
Avi? You remember him?
Yeah.
We had great adventures that time. Him and I
Low
went to
budget productions. I
visit
took
you
him
at
to.
San
I
Antonio.
took him. I took you out to an art party
You did.
at a
It
fancy
was like
hotel.
a viewing of a short film. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember you had a sombrero or like a
Hmm.
cowboy hat on, and you had a megaphone. I don't know why you
Yeah.
had a megaphone, but you had one with you. And here's another cool comment from Spectral Bonsai. He is a streamer on Twitch, and he's talking about he posted that great episode, guys. I've been working on an experiment making a
Oh,
painting that
cool.
doubles as a hi-fi loudspeaker while listening to you.
Oh, that's real cool.
Spectre actually has been doing some creative projects with like bringing back them old like Nintendos and Game Boys and stuff that still work, but he's been like, and I'm sure I'm probably gonna totally change because I don't know all the concept of the art, but he's been like, I'm not sure if it's painting or wrapping or creating something unique design around it that it's an art piece, but you can still use it and play with it.
Oh, cool.
And it's been really cool the things that he's been posting up. But yeah, he's another creative here in Nashville that I've gotten to hang out with. Very smart individual. Avi, what? Okay, there's people here who maybe think being an artist is fun or easy, or maybe it is. I'm not sure, but or just in any walk of life, anyone who wants to become good at something, what advice would you give them? One little bit of advice can you tell them? You know what? I If you want to do whatever you do this or start doing this, and that will make you a more of a rock star in your industry, or that will help you at least become a rock star or set you towards the right path to becoming one.
Well, you just got to start. You just got to do it, and trust the process. Like, just keep on doing it. And I mean, the whole thing like that got me jumping into the piñata stuff wasn't. I never planned to do that. It was the doors were closing on me. There were no doors were open for the art gallery. So I
Mm.
had to say, well, forget that. I'm still going to make art, and more people are going to look at my art than those people that go to your gallery. So it's also, I mean, you have to think outside the box, and you have to continue working. That that's the only general advice that I could say or that I could give.
That's actually good, because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael
Sure.
Scott,
Yeah.
Avi Avalos. You need to start. You need to take that chance and just try it. Do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Perfection it kind of hinders us all sometimes, and we don't. If we try to be perfect every time, it's not even. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in this, but there's beauty in the imperfections. There's uniqueness in things that aren't quite like the other, and that's what distinguishes people. That's what makes you unique. So even if it's not perfect, hold it proud because it's that imperfection that is your mark. It's your little signature sign. It's what makes you a unique artist or a unique creative. So I forgot what book I read that in. I want to say it's Still Like an Artist. Two more comments just came in from Spectral Bonsai. First one says, "Thanks for the shout out. I'm wrapping them in copper, then putting them through a chemical bath to develop a patina." Ah, you probably understand that more than me. I mean, I do understand the patina and the wrap.
Yeah, you
Uh,
can also probably do like some type of etchings on that copper.
there you go. Like the Statue of Liberty, but the recipe I use makes a blue patina instead of
Oh,
green.
nice.
And love hearing your story, Avi. Very encouraging. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Actually, Avi We were talking about this the other day. Seth moved out of the house he was at, and he's now at a different house. But we're talking about the big party that I threw at his house that you actually flew down for, where
Hmm.
it had like about like 75,
Yeah,
almost 100
that was a lot
people
of people there.
that in that
It was,
little house.
it was a good time.
Good times. Last question, Avi. If you want to be found, how can people find you?
Uh, Facebook Avalos Avi, or if you want to follow the Instagram, it's Mr Piñata SA.
I got you. I got you. That one thing I did have that Instagram, Mr. Piñata SA, and you'll find a lot of cool things there. Also, if you're following the Hey Rockstar Instagram, I'm already following him, so you can just find him directly through there. But other than that, my dude, thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. I know that you are about to go get something done, but let me just give the closing statements. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. Thank you for checking us out. Hey Rockstar is affiliated with Low Budget Productions, that Avi is so well aware of. Low Budget Productions. If you have Instagram or Facebook, you can look them up. Right now, they are a podcast platform. They have other podcasts you can follow. If you're a podcaster and you're looking on and you're trying to figure out how to start, reach out to us. We'd love to take your hand and walk you through this process. And if you want to live stream, reach out to us and we'll figure it out. I'm still figuring it out all together. Any closing words, my man, before any more last thoughts before I bring this broadcast to an end? No?
Not that I can think of.
So Avi is one of the guys that every time I go to San Antonio, he always takes me to the Whataburger because I just crave it. But we are about to get our own Whataburger here in Nashville. In before, I guess they said that there's a billboard that says coming fall of 2021. So this year we will have finally our Whataburger again. But other than that, so you're welcome to come visit me and I'll take you to our Whataburger. It might still be better in San Antonio, but oh well. My dude, once again, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for checking out Hey Rockstar. We ask you to just, all we do is we share stories filled with value that you can take and apply it to your disciplines, to your habits, so that you can then convert and become the rock star of your industry. So just go and try, go and do it, go and just attempt it. And you will see, you'll surprise yourself knowing that you probably already had more than what it took. But anyway, once again, thank you for showing up. For those of you who liked and shared and subscribed, all that stuff, and doing the thing, thank you for doing that. Um, Thank you for letting us into your homes. Thank you for letting us into your cars. But most importantly, thank you for letting us into your hearts. All the way from Nashville, I am Josafat Emiliano. That's Miguel. And from San Antonio, Texas, that's Avi Avalos, also known as Mr. Piñata. And until next time, just much love and many blessings.